So you may actually be wondering, why am I doing this in English? Okay, first and foremost, because not everybody, a lot of the media reports, a lot of the social media reports, a lot of the channels that are reporting, it is in Punjabi or it is in Hindi. So there are certain words that I don't understand, or there's certain aspects of the conversation that I can't understand. And most importantly, there's certain parts that my children can't understand. So why am I sitting here and doing this? For that very reason, so that there may be people who don't understand the cultural aspects of this. And for you, maybe if I explain to you and you understand me, maybe then you can pass that knowledge on to somebody who's asking that question, that very question of you, as to say, why are people protesting on there? So hopefully, with this little message, that you're able to understand. But as I always say, go out there and seek the knowledge yourself, because what you seek, you will understand better. Why are people protesting in the cars, in the vans, in the UVs, across the world? If you think of a tree, a big tree with lots of branches, lots of leaves, when somebody strikes at the root of that tree, the trunk of that tree, the twigs, the branches, the leaves, everything shakes. And these are the repercussions of somebody striking at the roots of that tree. And the roots of that tree being India, being Punjab, and obviously these twigs and branches that live across the world, being citizens of other countries. But when the axe strikes that tree, they still feel the pain. And it's that pain that makes them judder, wakes them up and tells them that you've got to do something. Your voices must be heard. You've got to let the world know that wherever you are, that you are feeling the pain. Because we've come from India, we've come to these countries, but our roots still lie there. My father, my grandfather, your grandfather, your sister, your grandmother, our nephews, our nieces. Imagine them in the cold month of December, lying on the streets, in the trolleys, in the trucks, in the freezing cold fog of India. But the difference is, you don't have to imagine. It's a fact. It's happening. That's what's happening right now. And that's why the people living abroad, whether they're Hindu, Sikh, Muslim, they are people associated with farming. So it's a farming issue. It's not actually a religious issue. It's not a cultural issue. It's not a caste issue. It's actually a farming issue. Because with those farmers, the labourers are related, the people in the shops are related. So with that one farmer, everything else comes into the picture. Because that one farmer doesn't only provide for his family, he provides for all the other families that matter. He's working that land, he's cultivating that land, so that one grain can feed you wherever you are. And that's how important that farmer is. And that's why these farmers have got up and they realise that this seed, this land is being taken away from us. So that's why people are getting into the cars, people are protesting. Whether it's in London, it's Birmingham, it's Leicester, it's in San Francisco, it's in Canada, it's Germany, it's France, it's Italy. People are protesting because we want them to know back home where they are sleeping, on the streets, in the cold, in the fog, in the frost, to know that they're not alone in this fight. That these people abroad are with them. It's a battle for humanity. It's a battle for someone's rights. And it's a peaceful protest. They're not going there hurting anybody. It's a peaceful protest. And they want to keep it peaceful. And we want the world to know that it is a peaceful protest for their rights. Sikhs, Indians, blacks fought in the First World War. It maybe wasn't even their war, but they were there right at the front line fighting because they believed that they were fighting for someone's right. Because a wrong was being done and they were fighting for what was right. And that's what this battle is now. There's a wrong and there's a right. For example, if somebody's saying to me, do you know what? I'm not going to ask you what you like, but here, have some pizza. It's really good. It's really good for you. And I'm saying, no, I don't want any pizza. You haven't even asked me what I want. And that's the core issue with what's going on in India, is that these laws bills, as they call them, that pass these bills, but not actually consulting the farmers of India, not actually taking their feelings into consideration. They're just saying, we've done these laws, here you go. And the farmers are saying, actually, these laws don't suit us. We don't want them. Or, at least you should have consulted us. At least you should have spoke to us before you passed these laws. And that's what the fight is about. The fight is about their rights. The fight is about justice. For 2 months they fought. They protested in their own way. But then finally they had to pick up their lot. Their children, the 90-year-old Baba, the 70-year-old Bibi, and the sisters, the brothers. So they had to march in a peaceful way to Delhi. Sometimes it takes something like this just to wake you up, just to shake you up and say to you, you know, you need to stand up and you need to support these people. People might be saying, you know, what are these people in the Lamborghinis and the Ferraris, on the motorbikes, all that come out to do show off their cars? But you know what? If that's what they've got, that's what they're going to come in. I went to the Birmingham rally and I was actually on my bicycle because I haven't got a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or whatever. But what I'm saying, my point in that is that they're not showing up. They've worked hard for that and they want to bring those to the rally. Why not? And they should. If that's what they want to do, they should. My daughters went, my son went. Although they're born here, they're bred here, but they still feel that it's their right to protest. It's a peaceful protest and it's their right to protest. It's their right for their voices to be heard, just because here we're allowed to protest and we should protest peacefully. The idea behind this is peace, and everybody has a right to a peaceful protest. Nobody should be able to stop you wherever you are in the world. And within these marches you will see it's not just the Punjabis, the Muslim brothers, the Hindu brothers, and all the other castes, all the other, you know, the Christian people in the march, because they understand they marched with us. So if you can make somebody understand, they may agree with you, they may not agree with you, and that's okay. And people are saying, making comments, if there's an issue in India, go to India and march. Why are you marching here? Or why are people marching in America? Why are people marching in Canada? Or wherever they are marching. Okay, first things first, there's a COVID situation. So people can't fly to India, people can't go to India to do their marches there. But besides that, even if they could, you make your stand, you make your voice heard wherever you live, wherever you are. And those people, wherever they are, they're supporting. Just as Black Lives Matter, the issues that happened, the things that happened in America, but we marched here, we went along with the Black brothers to march, and we wanted their voices to be heard, and because we knew what was happening was wrong, we stood by their side and we marched along with them, because it was an issue, it's a humanity issue, and wherever that humanity issue is, you will march wherever you want. And of course, governments have the power to talk to governments. Just, you know, John down the road hasn't got the power to go and talk to the Indian Prime Minister or the American Prime Minister. So the only way to do that is to make your voice heard in whichever country you're living in. And then that person will possibly say, actually, what's going on? So the government can talk, the government, then the world can hear you, and the channels that we pay our license fees to, maybe they will one day pick up the story and actually say, there's something going on here, this matters. Okay, questions raised, people ask questions. Okay, so these people are going to marches, why are people giving you cans of Sprite or food or crisps or whatever? This is the Sikh way. This is what we call langar, okay? And langar is the free kitchen, open to everybody, anybody. Okay, so even if you're not taking part within these marches or these protests, you can walk along and have a cup of tea or have a samosa, have a pakora. I mean, that was on a small scale. But if you look at the Farmers' March in India, nobody is funding these people. They've taken their own rations and they are not just feeding themselves, they are feeding the very people who possibly sitting on the streets and haven't had a good meal for days and days. So we share what we have, and this is given to us by our gurus. It is part of us, it is part of our culture. You know, we don't ask for handouts, we actually go and share, which in Punjabi we call vand shako. And we are blessed, and we are honoured, and we are humbled to be part of that culture.